live in the same area, so I know I'm at least gonna live till I get home. Now, she made a comment, and I don't know if that's true. She said that I'm funny. Now, I'm a serious physician. I'm a kidney doctor. And my normal approach to people is, I only got two things I'm giving out today. Bad news and bubble gum, and I'm fresh out of bubble gum. Because, it's depressing because I don't want none of y'all to have to come to see me. Because when you do, that's serious. It's a complex you have, You have to look at somebody and tell them they got to do something the rest of their life. And it's not good. So I don't want a reputation for being funny. I want to be serious. But I can say that what I've learned in the past 6 months that I've been doing this business has been so important to me. So one of the things they taught me, and I've listened to Nelson, Liz, Camilla, Mr. Elijah Hall, and I've listened to what they say, and it struck a chord that you need to find out what would make you want to take advantage of the opportunity that you're going to hear about today. Well, I finished medical school back in 1930, and I did learn, being on the lecture circuit, that the average death age of a black physician is 54. Black male is 54. I've been dead 20 years. Now, but attaining that senior age, you know that you need to leave a legacy for your family. And I know that just a few months ago, a friend of mine, there were 3 black neurosurgeons that I know about in Los Angeles. And one of them was making rounds at St. Francis. And as I hear, he stroked out and passed just a few weeks ago. He's a few years younger than me. One of the doctors that's an infectious disease doctor, that's something to be a lot of patients. I got word last week, she just passed. So, none of us is going to get out of here alive, right? But when we do get up out of here, you do want to be more comfortable in knowing that your loved ones are taken care of, right?
It's true.
So, some years ago, I bought a business. And I believe in OPM. You know what OPM is, right? Other people's money. So somebody trusted me enough to give me $100 million. And I bought a business. Now, when you buy a business with what they call equity capital, with equity capital, you don't have to pay it back, right? But you might get shot if you don't make them their money back. They want back 3 times what they gave you to buy your business. So if y'all ever see me walking around with some holes in my chest, But in that business, they told me, well, Maxie, you're a smart brother. We're going to make you chairman of the board. And we're going to make you CEO. And they spell CEO as HNIC. But as I read the small print on the bottom, it said, you serve at the pleasure of the board. That means that at any moment, can I say a bad word? I know.
Go for it, Doc.
If I piss somebody off, I'm gone. And these are cold-blooded brothers. Okay? They don't smile, they don't love their mother, they don't love Jesus. I could be gone in a minute. So what kind of security does that leave for my wife, for my 5 children, for my 7 grandkids, my 3 dogs, and my 10 children. Actually, it doesn't do that. Now, sure enough, in a few years, when we sell that business, I'm likely to make a whole lot of money. Not quite as much as Mr. Nelson, but it'll be a whole lot of money. But if I precede in death, when that happens, I'm 100% sure that my family would not be able to negotiate the terms out of that deal that I could. So where does that leave then? That means I needed to find something that allowed me to undergird them. Because it's tough out here. People would love to throw my family out. I'm not going to have that. So I met Dr. Glenn in Honolulu at the National Medical Association meeting. And she says, Dr. Max, I can show you how to lower your overhead. Now, anybody who's in business knows that overhead is something that's very important now. For you real business people, there's something called EBITDA. Earnings before depreciation, income tax, and amortization, right? And part of that is a formula that deducts your expenses from your gross revenues. And if that's not right, you're in trouble. So Lauren overhead, she got me to a meeting. And at that meeting, I remember there was a lady who was the queen who made the initial presentation. And then there was a gentleman named Mr. Nelson who came up. And by about the second slide he showed, I said, I got this. This makes sense. I need to do this to take care of my family. So now, understanding this business, that in the past 6 months, even though I spent over $100 million to buy a business, that pays me a pretty good consulting fee, I've been able to be in a position to equal that in 6 months. Nice. Is that amazing? Now, it wasn't easy, but it was simple. It was a genius move, in fact. The genius move is that I never heard of somebody getting paid for paying bills. I never heard of it. And we pay a lot of bills, don't we? Yeah. In fact, I'm told that if African Americans and other minorities were a nation, we would be the 9th largest economy on earth from what we spend. And just looking around this audience, and I haven't looked under the bottom of nobody's shoes, but I'm just saying, some of them got red bottoms. You know, and there's some of y'all got shoes from Jimmy Choo Chinese. But y'all must have been taking the same classes as my wife. How you spend money. And I don't know if any of y'all know Dr. Glenn is. She really knows how to do it. She knows how to do it. So what I want to share with you is what I think is a novel way to secure your family. And that's very important. Now, looking around this room, I see a lot of people that in their professional careers have made a lot of money. How many of y'all know that there's a guy here that is a former pro football player? Y'all know that? Yeah. Them boys make some money. Yeah. And then they make even more money when they get a law degree. And then they make even more money when they marry a rich lawyer. So I thought, I said, you know, if he's rich and smart and he's doing something, maybe I need to copy him. Oh, what he doing? Is that right? Yeah. He walks around calling people back there. So I want to talk about a company called All Communications Network. And that company provides essential services. What's an essential service? Something you have to have. So have you ever seen one of these 18, 19-year-old kids at the bus stop with an $800 telephone?
Yeah.
Okay, that must be essential, right? He ain't got a car. Probably living with his mama. That's essential. How many people took a hot shower this morning versus a cold shower? Yeah. So you got to have that electric. And how many people warmed up their house with gas? Right? And if you're real, is anybody a real cook in here? A chef? I'm a real cook. I can cook. You know, in fact, if I was married, I'd make good of something. But a real cook does not cook with electric, he cooks with gas. You know that, right? So you can vary the temperature. So gas is something very important. So that is an essential service. We are the single largest purveyor of energy and telecommunications in the world. Isn't that great? Yes. Great. And what I'm told is that very shortly, not only do we have natural gas, not only do we have electricity in a number of states, but we're about to introduce solar energy. That's tough. So you know, we don't have to worry about if there are enough dinosaur juice left over. We got the sun. You know. Now there was a quote in the Bible that says 5 minutes, but we don't want 2 minutes sun yet. So we are now about 22, 23 years old. Now I'm not a mathematician, but they started in 1993. Most companies that are going to fail do so in their first 2 to 5 years. So it looks like we have turned a number of corners to where we are a company that's approaching $1 billion. Now, my son is sort of a mathematician, but he told me that, Dad, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, that it's going to be about 50 years later when you finally get to $1 billion. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And from what I heard at the last meeting I went to, they expect that to hit 4 to 5 billion in the next few years. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if some of us got involved while it was still an $850 million company and rode that wave to $5 billion? What would that do for you? I mean, contemplate that. That's a whole lot. I mean, you can't spend that much money before you die. Well, my wife could. So, this company has business in 24 countries. 4 countries. And actually, this is an old slide. Because since this slide was made, they opened up Mexico, they opened up Korea. Well, that number is not correct. It's more than that. And my son is learning Korean, and I'm going to learn a little bit of Korean. I'm really going to learn some Chinese. Because I want to get some checks in China. Let's go to the next slide. Well, being in a position, if I want to find out if Dr. Grant is legit, am I going to look into the Sentinel newspaper? No. Am I going to look into the LA Times? No. What I'm going to do, I'm going to look in a peer-reviewed journal. I'm going to look in the American Journal. I'm making this up with emergency physician. I'm going to look at an official journal that represents her profession. If you want to find out if I'm good, you want to look into the Journal of the American Board of Internal Medicine or something in the New England Journal that I may have published, but you're going to look at people who are experts at evaluating. And why do I say this? If you want to look at a company that claims to be doing well in finance, so you want to look at something related to that, such as the Wall Street Journal, right? Success magazine. things that are legitimate in reviewing and vetting things. So if you look on just the internet, you know, I looked you up on the internet, they told me you were a jerk. Is that true? And you notice I didn't point anybody. I just looked over that way. But there may be some jerks on this side too. So, and I'm sure as good positions I think I am, there must be somebody somewhere who thinks I'm a jerk. And some of y'all might be jerkettes. You know. So we want to do our due diligence in the right place. But if in fact we made the deals we have with other Fortune 500 companies, and you see billionaires such as Donald Trump vetting and validating what we have, you can believe that we've stood the test more than you're going to find on the internet. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Makes real sense. So let's go to the next one. This is our headquarters that we visited last month. And this headquarters sits on over 17 acres. And I'm told that will fit a number of football fields. It's a huge place. I got tired of just walking through it. It's a nice place. And guess what? The key reason they show this is paid for. It is not a mortgage. They got the pink slip. Ron, the pink slips apply to house or just cars? He's a lawyer.
Cars.
Huh? Okay. So anyways, paid for. How many of us got houses that are paid for?
You need a grant deed.
Huh?
You need a grant deed.
Get a grant deed. I can't spell that either. Lawyers are so damn. You know, I'm gonna have you define grant deed because I don't know.
GRANTGEED.
Like Valerie Grant?
Yeah, grant deed.
All right.
Grant deed.
Let's go to the next. This shows a number of other world headquarters in Asia, in Europe. And this says that this is a solid company that is making money. And you know, we have to try a little bit harder. Anybody ever heard the Willie Lynch letter?
Yeah.
I know this isn't on the subject, but indulge me a second.
The making of a slave.
Willie Lynch was a consultant. He was a consultant to a group of slave owners. And he gave this speech, almost like a Gettysburg Address. He said, I can teach our slave owners how to maintain slavery for the next 300 to 400 years without any change, without any whips. What we're going to do is tell these brothers and sisters not to trust each other. That the only thing that they can trust is white. Like if you black, get back. If you're white, you're all right. And based upon that, that has denied us economic freedom ever since. So you'll meet somebody a little bit later who makes more money than probably all of us in here put together. And he makes it a month. And he's going to say that I'm going to teach you how to get what I have. And somebody's going to say, well, I'm going to go and research this. How to look this up? As opposed to understanding that he is walking documentation that it can be done. You know? Let's go to the next. So here are a number of companies that we offer their services. Flash, which is our own company, Zoom, which is a gas company, Anovia, which is, this is so slick. I've always wanted to be a part of when you slide your credit card or debit card and it goes ka-ching, that's the bank. I want to own a ka-ching company. Do you know how many times buying in red bottom shoes, number 2, it goes ka-ching, ka-ching? I'd like to have a piece of that. Yeah. Vivint, an alarm company. Verizon. Now, when I was young, there was no such thing as Verizon. It was just Marvell. And then the government broke all that up. They deregulated it, right? And in deregulation, all these little companies other folks call them little companies, to me it's still big. They allow companies like Verizon to become Fortune 500 companies. And that same deregulation now allows us to offer gas and electric right now in 17 or 19 states because of deregulation. This allows us to get in there like we were big businesses, even though individually we are a small business. These people have negotiated more than 100,000 contracts with companies. Now, do you think they did it, our company, before they allow us to use their name? Very good. Very good. Dish TV. Now, my wife looks at, what is this thing called? Empire?
Yeah.
And the other one was that girl I'm in love with? Scandal. Oh. And she's got so much of that stuff back, I can't even look at football because she's always looking at that. But we can lower your price on that and get a good deal just by these companies. So these are essential services. And we're not selling any lotions, we're not selling any vitamins. I'm always getting asked, Dr. Maxey, can you recommend my vitamin? No. Not at all. You know, but I will tell somebody that you should use these services. And if you can still pay Verizon and make up to 8 to 10% on your own service, doesn't that make sense?
Yes.
Let's go to the next slide. Well, at my church, and I go to a church that's in the hood. I don't think my preacher. Most of y'all are too sophisticated to come to my church. I mean, it's a church. You know, I went to this church one time and I read the program, and I was listening to the minister, and he kept saying, church, church. Then I listened to the program, it's spelled church. So I go to one there. But the spirit is in there. Okay? So don't wear no wig up in there. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Let's see how they braid their hair under the wig. But we have a lot of elderly people there. And what I'd like to do is be able to use the 5 phones that I have in my family, which gives me a free phone, and offer that service to one of the elder ladies or gentlemen in my church. Wouldn't that be good?
Yes.
And the same thing goes to the next one, applies to energy. Well, it's not there, but to gas or electric. If you get 10 services, or sell 10 services of gas, or 10 services of electricity, one person can get free electric and free gas.
Right.
Wouldn't that be good to get? That's really good. But even more important, I always look at these TV shows and they show these kids in Africa, a number of places around the world that have poverty. And I believe we should definitely help them. But if you walk not too far from here, you will see kids, you know, that don't have their next meal promised to them. So I believe that charity starts at home. Even on an airplane, they tell you, even if you got your kid next to you, they say if something happens, put your own mask on first, right? And then help your child. And part of the reason is, if you don't put your mask on, you might not have the strength to take care of your own child. So you got to take care of home first. So every time somebody pays a bill through ACN, we feed a child. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So we set a goal a year ago to feed 1 million kids by the end of 2014. They beat that by almost 400,000. They fed 1 million more. That's so cool. The real reason that I'm bringing it up, now I'm sure ACN does a good job of feeding kids, but I would like this group to grow so big and so powerful that we can make suggestions to those guys who are in control. Look, we need you at Eric Street, we need you at Crenshaw, we need you. we can start telling them some of the places they need to feed some of these kids, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we want to do. Let's go to the next. Well, I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I am. Just a minute. And the reason I'm going to talk about it is because this is the engine of the whole thing. That in big business, they tell you to spend 10 to 12% of your gross revenues on marketing, media, TV, or whatever. So this company said, no, we're not going to do that. In fact, one of our regional vice presidents made millions of dollars doing those advertising in the Super Bowl, Mr. Stratton, who speaks here sometimes. By cutting out that middleman and paying you and I that money for marketing, that makes sense. That's where the money comes from. That's how it can be done. People say, well, how do you do that? That's how. We don't pay the Wall Street, Madison Avenue people. We pay you and me. And when you can get 10 to 12% of $1 billion revenue, that's a lot of money. That's exactly the whole secret to the whole thing. So I would like to say before I take my seat, that this is the most legitimate business that I have been privileged to be a part of. Now, why am I saying that? I learned in the Bible that whenever you are approaching success, greatness, and salvation, there will always be something or somebody to come against your success. So I know I'm right when people start getting on my case about certain things. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I have learned to resist that and to think in terms of reality. I have secured my family, my kids, my dogs, and my children by learning how to work this business. The last thing I will say is, why do I believe in this business so much? Anybody know why I believe in this business so much and how much I believe in it?
Yes.
March 31st, I've already told my landlord I'm moving out. I'm quitting. I'm retiring. And I'm retiring based upon the security that I see I can do in this business. I'd like to introduce somebody who I am very, very proud of, who is a leader in this business to do the financial part. He's a Fortune 500 businessman. He's a father. A couple of years younger than me, he says. Don't believe him. And I've watched him give meetings, give counseling, and help people. And this business is about being able to counsel and help other people reach their dreams. So I'd like to introduce, for your education and training, Mr. Elijah Hall.
Got it right. Can everybody hear me? 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Dr. Max is doing an amazing job. See, I always wonder how in life I would ever get an opportunity to be able to follow a man like that. You know, I mean, two completely different walks of life. You know, in normal everyday life, we never would have just met. You know, maybe as a doctor-patient relationship, right? But never as a colleague. I didn't go through all the schooling he went to. He's probably 10 times smarter than I am. But I love to be able to connect with somebody that I know and say, hey, you know what? I got this amazing person that you need to meet. He's a part of our Fortune 500 company. He's a part of our project. He's tapped into what we do, and we're changing lives. I would love to get a chance to introduce you to this doctor, Dr. Maxey. And so being able to follow him is not just a privilege, but it's also humbling. So I thank you, Dr. Maxey. So he did a great job explaining the crux of the company when it comes to the credibility of the organization, why it is that massive people like Donald Trump connect with us, why it just makes sense, why he even tried to buy our company. But I have the privilege of diving into actually the money part. But I want to ask first, is it okay if I talk about money?
Yes.
I think this side of the room is louder than this side. So over here, is it okay if I talk about money?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I didn't hear you. All right, awesome, guys. All right, this side of the room, is it okay if I talk about money?
Yes.
All right. I'm telling you, this side of the room. She said come back. She said come back. All right. So in diving through this information, I'm just going to explain it because I'll even tell you, some of the fonts are a little bit off. We're using a Mac computer this time, so it's shifted a little bit. But in diving into the financial part of this business, okay, what we're going to show you is how to think like a CEO versus an employee. Now, let me ask you this. Who gets paid more, a CEO or an employee?
CEO.
Who does more work, a CEO or an employee? Which side do you want to be on?
CEO.
There you go. It just makes sense. See, in this way of doing business, the CEO is the one that's out playing golf, while the employees are in the, in the office doing the work. Because the CEO has learned how to leverage the talents and skills of the employees. That's why in connecting with a gentleman like Mr. Nelson, who you can hear from a little bit, who's being trained by a gentleman like Richard Branson, if you've heard of his name, Virgin Mobile, Virgin Airlines, Virgin everything. With a guy like that, he was told in high school by his high school teachers that he would either be in jail or he'd be a millionaire. He proved his teacher wrong at both points. He's a billionaire. Exactly. And he didn't even graduate high school. That's gonna make some of you guys really happy. I'm just saying, it made me excited. I was like, really? Are you kidding me? A guy like that didn't graduate high school, but still had the smarts to surround himself with people that are smarter than him, to get himself out of the way, so that way he could create the billion-dollar company to shift his family tree. So that's what we're diving into, creating leverage, okay? So in this system, you're gonna get paid up to 10% of your own personal residual income. There's 3 ways to get paid, and that's the first, your personal residual income. So some people are like, oh, what is this 1%? I mean, just to be honest with you, right? We were talking earlier today at a training, and someone said, oh, some of the margins, that might be low. I was like, well, what's your margin that you're getting right now? 0. Really? Okay, you're gonna tell me that this margin, and just think about it. I mean, it just makes sense. This is a make sense business, okay? Now, in understanding that, go to the next slide. The next way you get paid is overriding residual income. This is the way where you think like a CEO, okay? Because as you are that individual that decides to make the decision first and foremost, then other people will see what you saw. And when they see what you saw, then they actually come into your organization. And here's the thing about the way this works, okay? Let me give you an example. What's your name? Don. Elisha, very nice to meet you. All right, let's say if Don asked me, Don said, hey, Elisha, you're going to make some extra money outside of what you already do. I said, of course, who is it? So, Don, is it fair enough to say that I know people that you don't know? Yeah. Okay. Are you okay with getting paid off of people that you don't know? You're okay with that? Okay. All right. Are you okay with getting paid off of people that you don't know off of work that you don't do? Yeah? Okay, then we got a player. See? That's the idea of overriding residual income. Now he's thinking like a CEO. Okay? You have to take your employee hat off and put your CEO hat on. Because a CEO doesn't know how to, he might not even know how to work the fax machine, but he's getting paid off of all the work that's done in that office. He might not know how to do the payroll, but he's still getting paid off of the talents and skills of the payroll staff. Does that make sense? Okay. So as this builds out, as you, let's say, Don invites me, I land on Don's first level. I invite Dr. Brett, who you saw in the front of the room earlier. She lands on Don's second level and third level, and it drives all the way down. To put numbers with the conversation. Let's say you do this all the way down. Don just introduces 2 people. That's it. Now he can introduce 3, he can introduce 10, he can do as many as he wants. But let's just do for basic multiplication. He just introduces 2 people. And from there, it's a 2 showing 2 model. He shows 2, I show 2, and 2 all the way down. The way this builds out, assuming each IBO stands for independent business owner, totals customers of 20 services, okay? 20 services. We're not talking about 20 households. We're not talking about like a job, like your quota is 20 per week, 20 per day, or 20 per month. A total, 20 services. That'll give Don, with an average bill of $40 a month, okay? Now, some of you are like, I'd love to have an average bill of $40 a month in my household. These are conservative numbers. That'll give Don an overriding residual income of $11,000 a month. Don, I'm actually a little more excited than that. He said, I am excited. That's okay, man, that's okay. See, and here's the thing about that. I understand we're in California, you know, cost of living is a little more expensive. Just about everybody in California is making $11,000 a month. It's okay. But here's the thing. It's not the amount of money, because the beautiful thing is we've had these conversations. I can name who's who, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I don't want to drop names because of the idea of you getting into an opportunity because of who's here. It's important for you to connect with the opportunity because you see the value of what it can do for you, not what it did for someone else. You can't cash their paychecks. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
So in understanding this, it's the quality of money, not the amount of money. This is the way of getting paid. See, I love how this actually encompasses all the wealth principles. See, we've heard things like, wake up when you're finished sleeping. We've heard things like, make your money work for you instead of you work for money, right? We've heard things like, work smarter instead of harder. But this actually encompasses a way of doing it. Because I never saw in the past, I was like, okay, that sounds awesome, but I never knew how to actually get there until I actually connected with a gentleman by the name of Mr. Nelson through this particular organization, and it just changed my life. So when you look at this, even if you were to get this halfway wrong, is anyone in here okay with an extra, I said extra, on top of what you already do, $5,000 a month coming into your bank? Okay with that? What if you got it 90% wrong, just 10% right? What is that? Is that a fail? That's not a fail. That'll kick you out of the class, right? But $1,100 a month, is that okay? See, and here's the beautiful thing, because in every business model, I'm bringing the numbers down because I understand the average person can't necessarily fathom making too much, over 3 times more than what they currently make. But I do get this. If numbers can decrease because of the work is decreased, numbers can also increase. So think about, let's say instead of an average bill of $40 a month, the average bill is $100 a month or $400 a month. Because if you add an extra 0 to this, then you have to add extra 0 to this. See, here's the beautiful thing about this. There is no glass ceiling. The sky is truly the limit. Let's go to the next slide. So in understanding the way that we get paid as business owners, because we truly are business owners. You're talking about with the office building that Dr. Maxey showed at the very beginning. I mean, we have over 3,000 employees that are working for us, doing payroll, doing the marketing, doing the negotiating with these big name brand companies. I love that. There are some traditional business owners in this room that spend a lot of money for their businesses. And they are the first one there when the door is open and the last one to leave. And as all the bills get paid, they're the last ones to get paid in their traditional business. I know a guy that actually spent over $89,000 for a Verizon kiosk in a mall. After he saw this, he was pissed off. Because think about it, a Verizon kiosk in a mall, you're really only helping the people that walk through the mall, right? Here, he was like, are you kidding me? So I can talk to people in 24 countries on 3 continents from my laptop from any beach in the world? Yeah, he was pissed. But again, it's a makes sense business, right? So in connecting with us, with all the things that we have as access within a business, not just talking about, you're also a 1099, so you have the ability to have all these tax write-offs. And we know that the laws in the United States are built for business owners. So if that's the case, this is actually only $499. And in all honesty, I paid that twice because I looked at it like chess versus checkers. It made more sense to me because I actually have my business and my mom in my business. My goal is to retire my parents to be able to, because I'm what's called a sandwich generation, where we know that we're going to have to not just take care of our kids, but our parents are above us. And since the average person is struggling to care for themselves, how are they going to care for their parents when they get to that stage? So this is a way for a lot of people to see that silver lining. So I paid it twice because I put my mom into my business. It made more sense to get two paychecks into a household as opposed to one. Make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. And we can talk about strategy all day long. I mean, Mr. Nelson has over 7 positions in his business. So, I mean, in that understanding, it's really just a matter of where your vision is as far as what you see. How far down can you see? How far is your vision? Next slide. Now, I mean, this is probably one of the most beautiful words to me, residual income. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki years ago. And I was like, how can I get some of that? Because here's the thing. I like the idea of royalties, right? I know that Beyonce is getting paid today off of work that she did with Destiny's Child in the 90s, right? I know that Tom Cruise is getting paid today off of stuff he did in the 80s. But I can't act. I can't sing, really. So I was like, okay, well, how am I going to get that kind of money that I actually do work one time and get paid over and over and over again? So think about this. How often do you have to pay bills? Every month. How long are you going to have bills for? Forever. So I wasn't that great at math, but I understood equations, okay? So if you work, you get paid. You work, you get paid. If you don't work, you don't what? Okay. So that means you're pretty much, it's a formula to work till you die, right? Okay. So in this formula, if you have bills that you're going to pay every single month, and you can't pay them off, so you're going to pay them forever. So that means if we have a conversation, and I say, Mr. Muhammad, would you, let's say hypothetically we've been friends for like 5, 10 years, and let's say, you know what, you know some of the things that I'm looking to do as a man for myself to be to create an amazing future for my family, retire my parents, and so that way my kids never have to go through the struggles financially I went through. Let's say I can save you money on a bill that you're already paying. No extra money out of your pocket, no extra cost or commitment. A bill that you're already paying is going to be less expensive. Would you do me a favor and try, as a friend of 5 to 10 years, would you do me a favor and try at least one of my services? What would you say? No problem. How many times did he say no problem? How often is he going to pay that bill? Every month. How long is he going to have that bill for? That sounds like a royalty to me, right? That's what I'm talking about. So, and that's just sexy. I'm just saying. I mean, when you think about the way it comes through, yeah. So next slide. So this is the third way to get paid. I'm not going to spend much time here because these are, like any business model, has corporately earned positions. Okay, but these are the bonuses. Our residuals take time to build because think about it. If I set up a service, let's say an internet or a TV, it's going to take him, 30 days to use the service. Then he has to pay his bill. Then you get the check off the revenue, right? So these are bonuses that people actually get. It's more of the now money because we have bills when. Exactly. So in understanding this, everyone starts off the same as a TT, which just basically means team trainer, okay? So when you come into business, nobody makes any money off of someone getting into the business. There's no money generated because we're a customer acquisition company. So as we acquire a handful of customers, we will show you how to do that. Once you do that, you're automatically qualified to start making money. Then you're a qualified team trainer. Now, here's the beautiful thing about this, okay? Just to show you how the way the money works, all right? Let's say you get started with us, let's say Sunday. Okay, perfect example. So let's say you started with us today. You actually saw the value in it. You started with us today. You get your first handful of customers to get qualified tomorrow. You actually will get a $40 check in the mail with your name on it on Friday. How awesome is that? Right? Now, I'll put it to you like this. Some people are like, $40, that's like lunch, right? She's like, he just said that. But here's what I understand. If you had $40 missing out of your paycheck at work, how many of you would have a problem? Right? Exactly. If there was $40 laying on the ground, would you be too cool to pick it up? No? There were too many answers. I think somebody might be too cool to pick that up. Like, that's $40 right there. Hey, girl. You want that? I mean, this is LA. I mean, there's some cool people in LA. I think as soon as she turns around, No? But here's what I get. Here's what I get, okay? And understanding the way this business model works, I wanted to demonstrate how you actually get paid on a weekly basis because the money generates through the system. And through this, from there, everyone starts off, actually Robert Kiyosaki in his book calls this industry the perfect business. Because here's what I loved about it. He said everyone starts off on an equal level playing field. It doesn't matter if you're a college student. It doesn't matter if you are already seasoned. It doesn't matter if literally 18 to 80 Yale to J. Doesn't matter. Everyone starts off in the same position. And from there, we work our way up the compensation plan, showing 2 other people how to do exactly what we did. You're promoted to an executive team trainer. From there, you're hitting certain bonuses, anywhere from about $1,100 to about $3,300 on a monthly basis. From there, you'll be able to move up the position, ETL, TC. This is halfway through the compensation plan, and on average, you're looking at about $280 an hour, okay? It's a beautiful position. We have several people that have just recently hit this position. So what I'd like to do is have all of the ETTs and ETLs, please stand up. Give them a round of applause. Perfect, have a seat. And I actually want to be able to hear from a few of them in a little bit, so you can see really the caliber of some of the people that are in the room. But moving forward, we have a TC position. We either have the regional director position. The RV position might as well be called really very paid. In all honesty, okay? You're talking about CEO type money right now. And this is CEO of more of like a Fortune 500 company. I know some people that have business cards that say CEO on it. It's like, how many people do you have in your company? That's just me. We've seen those before. So I'm talking about CEO of Fortune 500 company, okay? And then also SVP might as well be called Superman, because that's like professional athlete with sponsors type money, all right? So if I have a microphone, I'd love to actually have our, let's see, you heard, listen to this. Dr. Maxey was just promoted to team coordinator. Please give him a round of applause. Outstanding. And then we have Michelle, recently promoted to the ETL position. Please stand up. Outstanding. And is there anyone that I'm missing that just recently? Okay, perfect. This is the microphone. So very briefly, if I could have Mrs. Wellington up to the front. Yeah, give her a job. I'm cheating. She might hit me later, because if I brought them both up, she'd probably have him speak. All right. So Mrs. Wellington, if you could just share with us briefly why it is you connected with our group and really as far as your journey so far.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. As he said, my name is Sandra Wellington, and I connected with this team on June 30th of 2014, approximately 9 months ago. That date is especially important to me because I felt like connecting with this team was a gift from my son, who I had lost a year and a half prior, who was actually murdered. And I joined this team on his birthday. And I had looked at this as a gift from him. I have met the most remarkable, outstanding, fun, successful people who want to make a difference in the lives of other people with this team. I have grown with this team. I've grown to love individually so many people. And I just want to share with you all my journey. My journey began approximately 28 years ago when I finished law school, practiced law for about a year, and then decided I wanted to go into business for myself. So I opened a mortgage company, a 300 square foot mortgage company. We operated for our first 5 years a block from here on the corner of Nettlewood and La Brea. We grew that company to a national bank. within about 15 years, and within another 10 years, we grew it to be the largest minority-owned African American and minority-owned woman-owned, because we were 3 minorities in the country. I was affected by the subprime crisis, and at that point, I had met and married my soulmate and the love of my life, Rod Wellington. And we worked together. And at that point, I went in one day, my husband and I, we called our staff together, and we actually operated a bank at 2049 Century Park East with a view of the Pacific Ocean that was to die for, and with employees that looked like you and I. And my main commitment was to training women in the mortgage banking industry because I found there were none to mentor me. So I went into the bank that day, called everybody. We couldn't get everybody in the conference room, but we had the entire floor. I called everybody as close as we could get to them and said, it's been a good run for closing. People who had worked for me from the inception of 261 South Brea had to go home with their boxes that day. And we had to shut the bank down, and then we started shutting offices down all across the country. Rod says that I went home that day, and he said he didn't see my face for a long time because it was just under the cover, because I couldn't get out of bed. And one day, we were searching around for different opportunities. Fortunately, we had put away a little nest egg. And one day I got a call from Dr. Marcia Glenn, who I will eternally be grateful for. And she told me later that I was on her chicken list. And I'm like, you weren't gonna call me to tell me about this? Anyway, I am grateful to Dr. I'm grateful to Mr. Nelson. I'm grateful to the likes of Elijah Hall, Jamila, Erica, Yancy, Dr. Cobb, all you guys, Queen, everybody. I'm grateful to all of you for this opportunity. And I can just say for everybody in the room, if you're looking at this, it's real. It's exactly what you see. It's really real. And everybody in here will work together with you to make sure that you're successful. We work as a team.
Yeah.
And I'll leave everybody with just this one statement. And that is from a person who I admire and mentor, whose name is Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn says this. He says, I don't know who ever decided that my time was worth $10 an hour and somebody else's was worth $25 and somebody else $400, because I say my time is worth what I'm willing to do and output. And if we stop thinking about trading our time for money, trading our time for money, and start thinking about trading our time for money for the period of time that we have to work on jobs to pay our bills, but also spending time on our fortune. A business like this eventually will have us working on our fortune. And it will eventually take over the wages that we are now having to slave so hard for every day. And I thank all of you. And as Mr. Nelson says, I'll see you on the beaches of the world.
One of the things that I loved about that conversation is that who in here would have loved to have been around when, let's say, Microsoft first opened their doors? Who would have loved to be invited to that conversation, right? How about Apple? How about Apple? Did you hear something in her conversation where she mentioned that her and Dr. Glenn were, being invited out, being able to hear about something that's happening to change lives? That's exactly what that was. That's a backroom conversation to a movement, right? You've been invited to a movement. I mean, that's powerful when you think about that. What I'd love to be able to do right now is have another gentleman come up and share his story as to why it is that he connected with us. So if I could have Dale come up and join us very briefly. Of course, man.
doing? All right. Is it on? I ain't used to this, so I ain't thinking I thought you could call Mr. Wellington or Queen or somebody else, but you call me. Well, I'm out of tell you the truth. I'm very honest with you. My story is simple. It's to me, it's simple. Maybe to y'all it might be incredible. To me, it's just simple. I'm that from jail to Yale. You know what I'm saying? I recently got out from prison for 25 years straight. But actually, it's sound relief. You know what I'm saying? It just sound relief that from the grace of God, I'm still here. You know, I got an awesome family that supported me, and I got a better family when I joined ACN. For my good well, I was like I'd say my will is Precious Jackson. She stays on me, you know, and she really just she keep pushing. Mr. Wellington, you keep calling, telling me to call me. You know, just call me, tell me. I don't care what. Call me anytime. Just call. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I've been blessed. I can't see and say I have not been blessed. I'm you know, I really don't. I'm kind of nervous. I know, but it's just. Whew. I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to be in this business. I feel that for myself, I'm 44 years old. And I don't think I can work for nobody for 20 years. I can't do it. I thought about that all the time. I can't work for nobody else because I'm stubborn. You know what I'm saying? And I think I'm just like Donald Trump. You got to like my hair. You know what I'm saying? I like my politics, but you got to respect that he is successful, and I want to be successful. So I want to do something that was profound for myself, and I feel being part of this family will do that for myself, for my mom. You know what I'm saying? And I just, you know, I'm just humble. You know, like Ms. Wood say, I met incredible people. Queen, Mr. Nelson, Elijah, Vic, you know what I'm saying? I can name them the whole spectrum of people here. And there's some that's not here that embrace me, you know. And there's some people that after I told my story, they're like, man, I've been in jail and I was scared to say something. I ain't never been scared to say I've been in jail, maybe to the person I am. And I'm happy. I really like it. I feel like a dick, you know. Hey, I'll tell you like this. He's a great man right here. You know what I'm saying? And Mr. Nelson is phenomenal. You know, this group right here is just awesome. When I say awesome, you can put 2 A's in front of that. You know, and this is probably the greatest feeling when I come to this place. I know that I am truly loved, and I know they love me and they will help me to see. Yeah, we'll do that for anybody who can join this family. We'll help you to see.
When you mentioned that, you know, we're great people, I mean, think about it. We're only as great as the people that allow us to speak into and add into their lives. The people that truly make powerful decisions to change their life. And it is a powerful decision. Because think about it. Like Dr. Maxey mentioned, it's not easy, but it's simple. But here's the thing. In whatever you already do, aren't you already working hard anyway? Yes. So yeah, there's gonna be a learning curve. Yeah, there's gonna be a learning curve, we get that. You can go to the last slide. But when you understand the fact of where you wanna go in life, isn't the goals and the dreams that you wanna reach, aren't they worth working hard to obtain?
Yes.
When did we start getting satisfied to just get comfortable with the status quo? To be like the average person working a 30, 40-year job, hoping I have enough money to retire. And we all know it's not gonna be there for us. We know Social Security is not gonna be around, so what is your plan? In understanding that, I have the outstanding privilege of being able to move forward and ending out tonight. But the beautiful thing about the person that you're gonna hear from is a person that's changed my life and changed so many other lives who also made powerful decisions just to get in his way. And think about it. When a train is moving at the speed of light, you either get on or you get out of the way, right? So you're talking about a man who has literally created over 100 millionaires. I had to go to the last slide because the most important thing about what we do is training. We know there's a learning curve. We know in doing something that we've never done, you're gonna have to learn something new. But I understood this. I understood that this particular industry has created more millionaires and billionaires than any other industry in the world, with exceptions of real estate, but we believe with the subprime lending debacle in 2008, that it surpassed that. I had all these perceptions about this industry. Let's just call it what it is, a network marketing industry. But before I dove into it and I learned about it, I became a student of it, then I actually started learning, okay, well, this generates about 50% of the revenue generated out of Russia and Japan. I didn't know that before connecting with this, before I became a student, before I humbled myself to learn something new. Think about a person, how Dr. Maxey came into this game already seasoned as he is to learn something new. To come here as a doctor and then come over here and say, I'm ready to be taught. I'm ready to be a student. And he said that for this particular group because of the man that's about to come up. So if you're ready to be a student, to learn how he's already created 100 multimillionaires, if you want to be 101, then I want you to stand up to your feet and welcome to the front of the room the incomparable Mr. Byron Jackson.
All right, how we doing?
Great.
Mom, there we go. Before I even get started, can we give like Elijah and Dr. Maxey the biggest round of applause? I'm gonna jump right into it. I don't need this right now. But the key, well, did everybody see that? The last screen? What is that?
Training.
There we go. Awesome. You're on the same page. So the key for those who want to, if you have pen and paper, please pull it out. I'm going to go right into it. And those that just came for the presentation, I'm going to cover the presentation that Dr. Maxey and Mr. Hall actually covered, coupled with about 15 minutes of training at the same time. Fair enough?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So, how many people understand the vowels? What is it? I for E, stuff.
Accuracy.
Sounded like A as a neighbor.
So we're gonna put we're gonna put what before why, except after who. What before why, except after who. So what does that mean exactly? So I can go. Excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second time. So yes. Excellent. So let's break down the business. What is the business exactly? Who wants to tell me what the business is? Someone to see. What's the business?
The business, I can see it as you.
That is, in a technical term, if we're sitting one-on-one, if we're training and you're already in the business, that's the exact answer. So if I were sitting down training you one-on-one, I would totally tell you, you are the business. And that's 100% correct. That's beautiful for me, just now meeting. That's a beautiful answer. To understand that conversation, your business will not thrive unless you thrive. Your business will not move unless you move. This is not a business for pikers or for people that are procrastinators or people that are waiting for somebody else to do it or somebody to tell you what to do. This is for self-motivated individuals that are already tired. People that are sick and tired of being sick and tired, that got sick and then tired of being sick and then got tired again. How many people can relate to that conversation? That are ready for a paradigm shift?
Yes.
And so it really is a business in which it sorts, and you want to write down the word sort. It really will sort out the, and it really is where you are in life. Is that making sense, everybody? It really is a matter of a state of mind, meaning you can't play ball unless you get into a specific state. You can't unless you're in a specific state. You can't win a boxing match unless you're in a specific state. There's nothing you can look at it. Turn around, look at people behind you.
what that would do. I saw my mom go from a housewife as well to working odd jobs and having to go through many times at the hospital because of high blood pressure. As I got out to railroad, I didn't understand how day-to-day life. 26, I kept saying to myself and praying, what do? I have to do something. I'm always in the middle of all the arguments and things that happen. And I said, I have to find something. Something has to work. And when I saw this, I knew this was the way to make that in for her, because my dad wasn't given financially for us. But I've always been that strong when I can make a way if there's a way to show me. When this came to my life, I really didn't know Mr. Nelson or anybody here. But because I stood long enough, I thank God that I met the people I have here and the family that's helped me be strong enough for her and now get us out of that situation. So that's why I'm doing the business.
Outstanding. Precious.
My name is Precious Jackson, and I'm a salon owner, and truly my business owns me. I do not have a peace of mind. I'm always at the salon all day, all night, and my family. She's banking on me to make it. I'm actually telling her everything that I'm doing so she can see me create history and be the first person in my family to be wealthy. And at the age of 33.
Larry.
Hello, my name is Larry Jacobs. My why is much like everyone else. I'd made plans to retire with supposedly necessary nest egg to enjoy my later years. Family obligations. My wonderful mother is no longer able to sustain the lifestyle that she's accustomed to, as well as myself going through the corporate downsizing and trials and tribulations of trying to find suitable employment at a later age, because obviously people do not take too much to people that have gained the experience that I had and don't necessarily want to pay for it. So when I came across this opportunity, I saw a way to get back what I had worked so hard in my life to try and establish. I'm looking very forward to taking this opportunity to the top.
Outstanding. Anne-Marie.
Well, my life is multifold. I have an 82-year-old mom. She's just now deciding to retire, and she's been working a business. She was a hospital administrator for 3 convalescent hospitals at a time. And, you know, and being from Jamaica, she also had a business on the side of a boarding care home with 24 clients. And she just thought that's just normal. And all up into her 80s, well, she retired from the administration job about 7 years ago, but she kept doing the business, the boarding care with 24 clients. But she says, I'm retired because I don't have to work that other job anymore. And now she's 80, almost 83, and she said, okay, you know, I think it's time now. I'm going to give this one up too. And she started apologizing to all of us, her 6 kids. I'm sorry, kids, but you know, I'm going to stop working now. I said, oh, Mom, what's wrong with this picture? And because of that, I put my mom in the business. You know, I'm going to make sure that she gets retirement money to save, because when she was working for all those hospitals, they didn't have a retirement plan for her. I found out. So I'm going to make sure that she gets that. And in addition to that, I'm a school teacher, worked 21 years, LAUSD. And when they came into a money crunch, so they say, we don't have money, they let certain people go. I was one of them. So I used to think, oh, I can just depend on LAUSD. No corporate organization is your mother or father, you know, and you cannot depend on anything. I came into this business, and I've just been mentored so wonderfully. If I'd never made a penny, I would say, thank God we haven't met these people. But thank God I can make money as well. And I'm well on my way to doing so. So if you don't join this organization, you're missing a big opportunity. you know, I feel like this is because I read something and this came into my life. So.
Excellent. Melissa?
Hi, how are you? I'm Melissa. The reason I joined this business was for my family. When I got into this business about 8 months ago, me and my family were in a very tough position. And I was the overachiever. I did everything I was supposed to do, you know, go to school, get good grades, got a double master's. And so I always wanted to make a certain amount of money. And so I thought that my family would be financially stable. Unfortunately, we were all in a tough position. It was very hard for me to not be able to help my family because, like I said, I always wanted to retire them. And so, and at that time, I wasn't working either, and I just couldn't believe that I was in that help my family. And I just said, and I prayed like everyone else in here, prayed for something because I knew something needed to change. And I just knew that I never wanted to be in that position again, to not be able to help my family, to be able to not be able to pay my bill, my car. I didn't know where my money was going to come from. And it was the worst thing ever, the worst feeling ever. It was very difficult. And I just said, I will never be in this position again, and my family will never be in this position. So I joined this business, and I will retire my family.
All right. That's right. Give everybody a round of applause. So I'm going to go for about 15 minutes so you guys get this, so that those that are new, if it does not resonate with you, if it does not, you do not want to play the game, if it's not something you want to be a part of, that you at least get enough of it that you can make an assessment of it. The training I'm going to go until 10:30 for those who want to understand how to make it work. Is everybody following me on that so far? Yeah. Right now it's about 9:10. Are we on the, everybody on the same clock? So, and I have a system that's in place to be able to truly do something that is spectacular. I'm up for like just, I mean, has anybody ever just stayed up and had insomnia with just figuring out how to create something ridiculous?
Yes.
I mean, just like ridiculous. You don't know how it's going to manifest. You just know where you're going to end up. Everybody following me that so far? So I have this picture in my head, which I will unveil as I keep going throughout the evening. But over the next 15 minutes, I want you to understand the distinctions of the business. Starting with what versus how. What versus how. So those that are taking copious notes, you want to write that down, because what ultimately happens when you get involved with a medium like this or a business like this is people are going to come to you, and when you get involved, you're going to go and share it with people. Because if you open up any restaurant, you're going to share it with people. Office, you're going to share it with people. If you open up with people, open up a chiropractor, if you're going to open a CPA office, you're going to share it with people. So it's amazing to me how people come in and look at the business, and especially our people come to the table with an interpretation or a perception that, well, I don't want to recruit. I don't want to talk to my family and friends. Well, you don't ever want to run a business, is what you're saying. I get that. You need to say an employee, because it really has nothing to do with telling your family and friends and recruiting your family and friends. It has to do with learning the mastery of sharing versus selling. You can write that down. It's the mastery of sharing versus selling. Selling, I'm selling you a product, I'm selling you an end result, I'm selling you a car, I'm selling you a house, I'm closing escrow, I'm getting a commission and the deal is done. Here, I'm closing you for a lifetime. I'm closing you for an establishment. I'm closing you for an entity. I'm closing you for a business that's going to run for years and years to come, that's going to run with and without you, that when you walk away, that money is going to continue to hit your bank account. I'm selling you a system that gives you perpetual residual income. That means you work in 2015, 16, and 17. You quit, add up 3 years of income, and it's paid to you whether you get out of bed or not. That's what I'm selling you. If I'm selling you anything, I'm selling you the concept of wealth principles and financial literacy that was never taught in elementary, junior high, or high school, that was never given to us in our family tree, that was not taught to us to be able to understand how to own and take care of our properties so it's not lost in probate. So it's now that we understand how to leverage our money money and take a penny and compound it over a period of time. How to take our time and compound it over a period of time. How to make your time and your money work for you, you not work for your time and money. As 99% of the planet is working on linear income. That means when they stop working, their money stops coming in. The wealthy have mastered making their time and their money work for them. They're able to walk away and their money continues to hit their bank account. And I just think that's just a smarter way of being able to make money. Yes or yes?
Yeah.
So these are principles and I would say a moral fiber that has missed us. We were taught how to get a good education and go get a good job. And we know good and job don't go together. Then some of us went in there and got our own business. And we found out we really don't own our own business. Our business now owns us. So you have someone like Dr. Max, you have someone like Rodney Sanders, you have someone like, Dr. Grant, who's an ER doctor. We got people that have more degrees than a thermometer. Working in my life. In fact, the older I get, the less I like people. How many people can relate to that conversation? Okay. But I hate being broke even more. How many? So I'm not into pyramids. I'm not into Ponzi schemes. It's not something that we're going to just get everybody involved in. It's a cult, and it's going to go away in a day or two, or a month or two, or a year or two, because the company's been around now for 22 years. This is 22 years as of November of this year. The documentation is tough. Inc., Fortune, Forbes, USA Today, Success Magazine, Wall Street, CNBC, all these companies, they can't all be lying about the same company. And why is it that we as a congregation, as a body of people, as an entity, are always the ones with all the opinions and lost, and we can't understand what we're saying? Is because we aren't saying anything. There's no substance behind our conversation. It's just a concept. Concepts don't sell. That's exactly what it is. It's a concept. Is everybody following me on that? Yes or yes? So we have to find something we can sink our teeth into. This is a common sense business. You already have a phone. You already have internet. You already have cable. You already have gas. You already have electricity. You're already in. You're just going to be one or two people when you walk away. You're either going to get paid or you're going to pay somebody. If you look throughout the room, there's at least 8 people on their cell phone right now checking a text message or calling somebody. We live in the age 6 years ago, 10 years ago. What happened when you just had a phone on the wall? And you were trying to, for those who are old enough, they were trying to get their Mac on, took the phone, wrapped it around into the bathroom, closed the door, hoping nobody was going to hear the conversation. Ran home hoping that she would call. Check your answer machine. They didn't even have remote where you could check your machine. You couldn't even check your machine back then. You had to be at home to answer the phone. Now we don't even say hello. We say, hi, what's up? LOL. Gee, good night. TGL, talk to you later. Well, I mean, we don't even say full words, even in our text message. You got all these characters, and you have a full-blown conversation in acronyms. WE, whatever. I mean, this is the life that we live in today. And we so to understand what it is we're doing and how we're doing. We aren't writing anymore. We just Google it. Nobody knows how to do research. Is anybody understanding what I'm saying? Yes. We've lost touch on a human basis, and everything's lost in translation when you text somebody. By the time you text someone, it's like, that's not what I meant. Well, that's not what I meant. Well, why you had a full-blown argument? already at odds with your best friend or a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, because it's brewed for like 2 or 3 days. And when you finally sit down and talk, you're like, all this other stuff doesn't come up. Now you got a whole real conversation going on. It's about learning how to generate abundance. It's about getting in. Ask you, I'm going to pay you. And what I need you to do is give me 90% of your life, and the other 10% I want you thinking about. I want to own you. I want you to do what I need you to do for 80% of your life at minimum, 80 to 90% of your life, and the other 10% that you aren't around me, I need you to think about. So I want to buy you, for lack of a better word, as a slave. And I want to fool you into believing you actually love what you do for me, because you aren't going to make more than $65,000 a year. So I want to own you for $65,000 a year. Some of you in here 70, some of you here at 80. Very few people in here over 100,000 net. Net. And I want to own you. I'm going to tell you what time to show up. I'm going to tell you what time to eat. You're going to have to ask permission. If somebody dies in your life, you need to come and ask me. If you take more than 2 days, I'm going to have to trade you to another slave owner and replace you. You're going to get more than a week vacation at best. You're going to get time and a half to work on holidays, and you're going to do that because you were never paid enough in the first place. So for under 100,000 a year, I need you to let me know that I can brand you and own you, and you can feel empowered to say that I have a job. And if I ask any individual outside of just this realm of conversation, how much can I own you for? Like, you can't own me. How about if I pay you 10,000? No. 100,000? No. $500,000? No, I'm worth more than that. Then why have we settled for what you have made over the last year? And somebody cares enough about you, and as soon as somebody comes and says, I care, I see something greater in you, I want you to see what I see. I want to build something magnificent. And we're skeptical, well, what is it? I need to research. Research what? You got a job. When we first got our first job, who went and did all the research? No, you saw the name on it and took it at face value. You worked at Enterprise, you took it at face value. If you worked at Sears, if you worked at Starbucks, wherever you worked, you took it at face value. All you cared about is you got a check at the end of the week. You didn't inspect the products. You didn't see if it had good products, if it had toxins in it, if it was going to be healthy, if it was going to work. All you need to know is they were going to stay in business and send you a check. Now all of a sudden somebody comes to an opportunity and now you want to be a scientist. I need to do my due diligence. I need to just understand first before I. You're talking about me being the boss, me owning my own life and being free and being trained by people that are millionaires. I'm skeptical about that. I'm too used to somebody else writing me a check. Somebody getting this conversation? Yes. So no, I never did network marketing, but you could call it wee-wah, whatever. So long as there's documentation that somebody's already done it, I'm the product. Just show me how to do it. I just need to know that it's going to be around. It has a solid product. It's built on integrity. I can pick who I want to work with. Who at their job right now? You picked everybody that you're working with. Oh no, I don't want to go to one of those meetings. They're too happy. They hugging and loving. What kind of crap is that, y'all? Hey, I don't know you like that. Come give me a hug. You're in my personal space. You actually care about me? No, I don't even need to see. There's something funky up in here. Care about me, lying about me. Nobody's cared about me my whole life. I'm used to not having nobody care about me. I'm used to doing everything by myself. I'm used to having to stand isolated and hope that I have to get, enough money. There's no turn. You gotta help me. Nobody help me. I don't believe you. Does anybody understand this? Yes. But to be able to edify, and to be able to build up, and to be able to lift up, and to be able to raise up, and tell this brother, I just love the way you carry yourself in that suit and your posture, brother, and I love your haircut. And to be able to truly care about another brother genuinely, without it being taken out of context, like, oh, is that brother funny style or what's up? To be able to actually give a woman a compliment without her feeling like I'm trying to take her to bed. I mean, genuinely. And want to see her actually succeed. To really, truly care about each other. Genuinely. And get paid for it. Oh, you gonna pay me for this? You gonna pay me for being excited about helping somebody else have success? Is that legal? Does anybody understand this conversation? So I want you to write down the philosophy of our organization. For those that are new, so you know, and those that are old, so you always know what philosophy is. People don't care what you know unless they know that you care. People don't care what you know unless they know that you care. So in building the business, the three aspects of it I want you to be able to take away from, and like I said, I have a few segments here, is the what, the why, and the how. What it is versus how we do it is because as soon as you share the opportunity, and you got to be careful, you want to write down opportunity and then put a cross through it. Because for people of color, they've heard opportunity and their red flag goes up immediately unless you're specific. Unless you say, I have a real estate opportunity for it. Unless you say, I have an investment opportunity from a portfolio perspective. But if you just say opportunity itself, I'm involved with this great opportunity. For people that are 30 or over, it immediately is going to raise a red flag and they're going to become resistant before you even start. So I'm giving you it's kind of like a dial of opening up a safe. Most people never win or make the money because they're one dial up, they're one number off. So I'm giving you the little dials to allow it to just lock in on that click and open up the safe. These are the little things they won't share with you. When they say, oh, just come to the training, come and get involved with this. I'm going to give you the little things that make the comma move. So where you get resistance and you lose 40% of the people that you want to recruit, NFL recruits, NBA recruits, the highest colleges, Yale, Harvard, Howard, Morehouse, UCLA, USC, they all recruit. You wouldn't play anything where there's gonna be at least one comma, but 2 commas, they recruit. So you need to establish up front mentally, are you going to recruit or are you going to be recruited? Because there's only 2 sides of the fence. Either you're gonna recruit or you're gonna be recruited. Same thing in dating and marriage. Either you're gonna recruit or you're going to be recruited. It's really that simple. So I established up front, I have the choice of recruiting or being recruited. I'm gonna do the recruiting. That way I get to pick and choose who I want to work with. I get to make my own hours. I can create my own environment. I can create my own culture. I can have as much fun as I want. I can learn whatever I want. I can help the people I want without any, I can get paid for helping who I want to work. I mean, there's people that we help at our jobs. When I used to have a job, I used to help people, but you don't get paid for helping somebody else. But you help them because you have a kindred spirit and a servant's heart that you just help people. Then there's other people that you're doing their work for them and don't get paid $1. And they take the credit for it. How many people have been in that situation? Happens all day, every day. So it comes down to how seriously, that's why it's just a conversation, how seriously do you want what you say you want? This isn't about ACN, this isn't about our opportunity, this is about what you create out of your own life. This is about you becoming the architect of your own life. This is about thinking for yourself. This is about, for the first time, rising up and being the star that you were born to be, tapping into your human innate greatness that you are already born to be. You are already born to be great. At what point did you decide that you were going to be mediocre? At what point did you decide I'm going to live an average life? At what point did you decide that I'm not going to be able to take 2 or 3 vacations a year? I think you should have 12 vacations a year. Don't you work 12 months out of the year? I think you should have 12 vacations out of the year. I mean, that's just the way I think. I mean, I just think that, I mean, are there people living like that? At what point did you think you weren't good enough or great enough to have that same lifestyle? At what point did you just say, see, we don't take care of our credit because we shove it into the back. It's like, I got bad credit, I get around to it. You never get around to it. It starts getting worse because you aren't paying attention to it. Your health, it gets worse because you don't pay attention to it. My mentor used to always say, we never had a problem. I tell my team this all the time. Show up, pay attention, take action. I didn't get that for 5 years. It sounds really simple, but he had trained 2 billionaires. He said, show up, pay attention, take action. What the hell are you saying? I'm sharing with you my problems. You said, show up, pay attention, take action. He said, you know what? Most people lose on the lottery because they didn't even show up. They didn't expect to win. Over 70% of the people that have ever won the lottery tickets from $100 all up don't even cash in because they didn't expect to win. But they stand in there paying money time and time again. But it's like they don't show up for their own rescue. Me and Mike had a conversation with one of his partners, and we were at the PBR the other day, and he said, and we were talking, I was talking to a young lady, what's her name? Christina, who just saw it yesterday.
Yes.
And in that, I was able to coach her, and give Rod, Mr. Wellington, a whole plethora of information. But because people don't show up, they show up empty-handed. They want the information, but they won't show up for their own rescue. They come to the trainings, but they haven't done anything. And then you have some people that live in a space of entitlement. They expect other people to do it for them because they don't know how to do it for themselves, so they want to be spoon-fed. See, if you want help, make 1,000 mistakes. You might want to write that down. If you want help, make 1,000 mistakes. That's what research is. That's what you got to create when you decide to become a boss. You have to create your own R&D. Write that down. Research and Development Department. I have to have something to research to help you. You have to come to me and say, I sat down with 10 people today, nobody got in. Now you can say, here's what I did. And you taped it and you recorded it. Now you're playing it back. That's what you did. That's where you messed up right there. It's what you said initially. This is where you're messing up. You're actually selling. This is what you're saying. You're too intense. This is what you're doing. You're actually too weak. You're too weak. This is what's going on. Your conversation has the wrong content. You're selling the wrong things. Is anybody understanding that so far? Yeah. But if you're gonna play tennis, I need to see you on the court in order to see the mistakes, in order to coach you to make you a better tennis player. Who wins the football game? Raise your hand if you know who wins the football game. Who wins the basketball game? Who, Larry?
Those who make the fewest mistakes.
The fewest errors, specifically, right? You can write that down. I want to know that. It's not the one who's the best team. It's not the one who has the best talent. It's not the one who has the best skill set per se. It's not the one who has the most money or the best coach. It's if it's boxing, if it's basketball, if it's tennis, if it's golf, if it's a doctor, if it's an attorney, if it's an accountant, the one who wins is the one, write it down, who makes the fewest errors. And you can only make the fewest errors if you're making the most mistakes to learn how not to make them. But if you have no errors for me to coach you on, there's nothing I can do for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's the person you're looking for, someone who keeps coming. And that means they get knocked down and they get back up. And they're excited about getting knocked down. So they can learn how not to get knocked down like that again. They want to know exactly, you know what, I talked to my sister and she wouldn't even get into business. My mother, she got in and then quit. You know, my best friend, he sucked the life out of me. You know, I approached this nonprofit and you know what, they just shot me down out of the water. You know, I talked to my minister and, you know, he just wouldn't listen to me. I took this to Farrakhan and he looked at me cross-eyed. I took this to the bishop and he looked at me funny. I took this to the principal of the school and this is what they said. I took this to the PTA. Guess what? You can't get stuck on the face. When you open up a restaurant or a liquor store, are you stuck on one client coming into your store? No. Do you even care who the clients are? No. You want as many clients come through there as possible. If you're counting on your warm market, you're going to stay broke. I can be dropped off right now in Chicago. I can go get Bishop Jenkins. You can drop me off in Tennessee. I'm going to get Bishop Johnson. You can drop me off in New York. I can go and get a rabbi all the way down to a priest. I can go into a Catholic church. I don't really care about TD Jakes getting in or not because you're close to me. I don't really care about your school. I really don't care about your mother or your father. I care about you. But people don't get that. They think when we don't show up, it's personal. The business is personal before you take care of business. After you get on the court, it's no longer personal. It's business. And you win because it was personal. You make your why personal. Is anybody getting this?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You can't teach people how to get that fire in their belly. They have to come with that fire in their belly. They have to, I'm gonna tell you like this. If you aren't pissed off about something, you can't make any money in this business. But you have to be pissed off enough to do something about it. And when you get to that point, there's no upline, no downline, no sideline. There's just you. That's all there is in this business. I work this business as if I have no downline. That's why my business will always win. Because it doesn't matter if everybody in the room quits, I'll replace everybody in less than a week. Because I will figure out what I did wrong to not retain you, and I will fix it on the next round. That's how I built all for the last 20 years. To what I did in 5 years, I now do in 3 years. To what I did in 3 years, I now do in 2 years. What I do in 2 years, I can now do in 6 months to 12 months. Because I'm paying attention to my mistakes. I'm getting better. See, the true essence of credibility, write this down. The essence of credibility is tenure of time. A doctor that was a doctor for a year, you want to have surgery with somebody who just became a doctor this year or someone who's been doing surgery for the last 20 years? I want somebody for the last 20 years that now has if I'm going to go to jail and I got an attorney, I want somebody who's been practicing for the last 20 years. And in the last 3 years, they have 100% closing ratio on winning every time. They didn't have 100% closing ratio in the first year. In the first 3 years, first 5 years, first 10 years, they had it in their last 3 to 5 years. Because they took all that wisdom over the last 10 to 15 years, compiled that, and figured out, I've seen a case like this before. Oh, I've seen symptoms like this before. If I'm a CPA, I've seen a company upside down that has gone belly up like this before. I know how to save this company now. I lost it in my first 3 years, but I know how to do that now. Is this making sense? Yes. What versus how? Somebody's going to ask you, well, what's your business about? And your what is going to be why I had each of the leaders stand up and tell you why they're doing the business. That's what the business is about. For me, what the business is about is creating more Black multimillionaires than this company and this industry has ever seen in its lifetime.
Yeah.
Am I going to deny myself a future because of the fact that I'm Black? Meaning, am I going to deny a white person, a Latin person, a Greek person, a Russian person? Excuse my language. Hell no. But my calling of why I'm still in this game is to find myself of someone who has enough, excuse me, ladies, balls and mentality to stand up and claim their life and fight with me, and I don't have to drag to the party.
Hey.
That's what I'm looking for. You want to know what I'm looking for? Gloves are off. This is what I'm looking for. Is somebody who wants to win today, not tomorrow. Somebody who has the same DNA I have, insomnia, not thinking about it, but doing something about it, creating a plan and activating that plan, applying that plan, and coming back and saying, you know what, I don't care if you quit or not, I'm still saying, this, I'm gonna win. And at the end of the day, call back and say, you know what, you never even really coached me, but one thing you said inspired me enough, and that's why I'm #1 today. I didn't need you to hold my hand. I was gonna figure it out anyway. You're looking for somebody who's gonna figure it out anyway. They have to get it done. Not they hope it's gonna work. They burned every bridge. And that intensity is not an emotional roller coaster where I'm high today and tomorrow, well, I don't know, and I'm back high again. I don't know. And, well, you know, I'm high again. Well, you know, my girlfriend. Well, I'm high again. Well, you know, my finances. Well, I'm high again. Well, you know, I talked to 5 people. Well, I'm high again. I've still got this one person I've been talking to the last. Is anybody getting this conversation? It's a daily diet to win. That's what it is. It becomes a daily diet to win. So you want to master what to say. The what lives in the why. That's why you want to record, because the average person is only going to retain 10% of what somebody says ever in life. If you don't have a digital recorder, you want to download it on a smartphone or go get you a digital recorder from this tape board if you want to play with me. Because as fast as I talk, you're only going to do 5%. But it is a known fact in human technology, the way we're built, that you will only retain 10% of what you hear. It's called selective hearing. You have certain tones that you hear and certain words that hit a specific nerve that actually it really transforms into an experience that you've had before you even met me. That's what allows you to retain certain things, because there's certain things your father said, your mother said, your teacher said, you read, you studied, you went to school, so certain things immediately hold. And you miss the critical information because it's the information that you don't know that will change your income bracket. Did anybody get what I just said? Because you can only make as much money as you know how to make, so it's what you don't know that you need to learn. That's why you have to go back and listen over and over again. You need to put it in an MP3 when you go walking, when you go jogging, when you go work out, when you drive your car. You need to reprogram your brain. You need to download a new sense of information in order to get a new sense of an income. And you got to be committed to it, like you have never been committed to it in your life. This has nothing to do with me. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. What it is me walking off my job. What it is helping my brothers and sisters in the community where they think there is no hope. What it is me being an example for this young brother who's suited and booted to be able to know that he can go out there and have his tailor come to him and he no longer has to go buy suits. What it is him being able to feel like I can go to a car lot and what are you talking about? I mean, if that's what he wants, let him get a Ferrari. Are they making Ferraris? Yeah. Then I think you should have one. But it's $250,000. And I mean, shouldn't you have a house that's paid for in full?
Sure, right.
Shouldn't you be buying property for your next family, even if you don't have kids yet?
Yes.
Shouldn't you be able to sleep in tomorrow until you're rested? I think it should be illegal that they make alarm clocks. And they had the audacity to put a snooze button on. I obviously wasn't finished sleeping. The hell do I need a snooze button for? I'm not done sleeping. How many people know you feel a whole lot better when you sleep and you get a good sleep? I mean, that good sleep. That good. Are y'all with me on that one? Right? That good sleep. And you're more productive, you're happier, your attitude's better. Anybody get, when you get that short sleep and you wake up and you're just irritable? I mean, you just ready to fight anybody. How you doing? Why the hell are you talking to me? I don't even know you like that. But I love you. I don't care if you love me. I don't love you right now. I don't love me right now. What the hell are you talking to me for? See why I follow me in this conversation? I am funky when I don't get rest, I promise you. I am. Miss Yancey, am I funky? Nasty. Nasty. And what's really found is you're nastiest to the people that love you most. Yes. You put on a fake smile for everybody you don't know, but the people closest to you, like, what the hell? What's up with you? Stop talking to me. Don't you know I don't want to hear you or anybody else right now? Is that making sense? Are y'all following that so far? We make them the target. We actually persecute the people that care about us most when we're in the worst position in our life and alienate ourselves from that which is our blessings. That's why this is a self-development course with an incredible compensation plan. You get paid for becoming extraordinary. That's what this is about. For 2 years. In 2 years, you won't even recognize yourself if you stay on course for why you're doing the business. You never have to talk to another person about the business. You don't have to get another customer. You don't have to go to another meeting if you want to. If you work this for 2 years, you may not be rich, but you will be financially stable and have built an income to replace your entire income where you control your time and you can go do whatever you want to do under the sun. That's a beautiful thing. Whatever you want to do. But before you can do that, you're going to have to rearrange your attitude. You're going to have to trick your subconscious. Is that making sense? You guys follow me on that? Yeah. You're going to have to trick your subconscious because it's your state of mind that's going to allow you. How many people know when your house is messy and when it's junky, it's hard for you to really operate with clarity? Right? I mean, you do it because we learn how to do it. I do it all the time. It's just mess everywhere. But you know that you feel like your life is in chaos. Miss Yancey will tell you, I got stuff everywhere in the office. And when it gets to the brim, I stop everything. She's like, what? I just go on a binge. I just start cleaning everything. I don't care who calls, I don't care what. I just go ballistic and start cleaning everything. It's like, because I can't think anymore. It's like, I don't know where anything is. I don't know where stuff is. Is everybody following that? Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I can fool myself for a period of time. But I'm terrible. When it gets to that brink, I'm just like, okay, everything's got to stop because I need a peace of mind. So I want you guys to understand what versus why or how even. Because when you first start the business, people are going to ask you, well, what business are you in? You're like, well, it's this thing called ACN and it's this group and Matrix. You may say both or one or the other. And you say, it's about helping people save money on bills. That's not what it's about. That's the how-to. I don't want brand new people talking about the how-to. I want them to talk about the what. What it is me walking off my job in 6 months. You interested, brother? What it is me going shopping and not looking at a price tag. What it is me taking care of my mom who's 70+ years old. What it is me being given, I need a vacation, you know, before this year is out. I need a 2-month vacation. That's what this is. What I'm doing right now is I'm setting myself up for a 2-month vacation. Are you interested? Yes. And when you master that part of the conversation, you'll learn, write down the #1 law in the business to make yourself money. I call it the #1 law in the business to make yourself money. The #1 law in the business is get yourself out of the way.
Wait.
Get yourself out of the way. Why did everybody bring you here to hear me? To get themselves out of the way. There's people in this room that can share it much better than much better than me. But documentation, write this down. Documentation beats conversation. We aren't talking about opinions here. We're talking about what's already a fact. What's already been done. What's already in play. Is right with me? Yes or yes? Yes. Okay? So we have the what, the how-to. Let's get to that right there. The how-to is called QPN. QPN. The Q stands for qualify. Qualify. The P stands for home meeting. It's just short for PBR, which stands for private business reception, but that's just a fancy way of saying home meeting. Are y'all with me on that so far? That's all it is. Huh? And then the N stands for National Convention. Now I want to just give you the skeleton because I'm going to keep coming back to this right now. But I want you guys to understand the system of qualified. What that means is as soon as somebody comes into the business, the first thing I'm going to do is open up my store and I'm going to get them qualified. Tell me your name, brother. Keith Johnson. So Keith came into the business. Each person that gets started in the business is a store. Is everybody with me on that so far? So he's his own store. He has his online store on his laptop. He's able to work from any beach in the world that he wants. It's a portable, liquid, multi-million-dollar machine that he's able to work from his laptop. He creates his own hours, but the one ingredient necessary for every business to make a positive cash flow is known as a customer. And who's going to be his first customer? Himself. So I need to sit down with Keith, Mr. Johnson, and go through what services he has and which one he doesn't, and by any means necessary, help him acquire 5 services. If he is able to incur 5 services on his own, I endorse that. I push that because I'm not going to sell you Nikes wearing the Adidas. So I need to believe in my own product and service. So I need him to get as many of the services as he can without it becoming a financial burden to him. Now you'll have some people come in and say, well, I'm under contract. Well, I have this, I got that. You got to change your thinking from from an employee to a CEO. Because a CEO, I don't care if I have a contract and I'm wearing Adidas, I'm now opening up a Nike store. I need some Nike shoes. But I just bought the Adidas yesterday. They go in the closet, wear them on another day. You need to put on some Nikes. If capable and able, I'm canceling my contract, I'm getting on this cell phone. I'm getting on this. Everything I can get on, I'm going to get on. Because I need to understand how it works, and I have to be able to believe it. Notice I said that it's not going to become a financial burden, but I need you to shift your thinking into being a CEO and a boss. First of all, if you open up a store, you open up a Subway, you open up a doctor's office, you open up a CPA firm, what's the very first thing you do when you get into business? What's the first thing you have to do? Get a new telephone number. So you might want to go and get just another cell phone. Keep your old cell phone. Keep your Adidas. Get another cell phone on the lowest plan so you at least know how it works. And you have a number to put on your new business cards for your new business. Well, financially strapped. Then get you a digital box. It only costs you $19.99 a month. It's portable. You can use it all over the road. It only costs you $20 a month. It'll give you a whole new number, and it'll give you everything you need to be qualified because we need 5 services ASAP. If I have gas, everything I can do incur for myself, I'm going to do if I'm Mr. Keith Johnson. But I may only be able to have 2 or 3 services. I may not even pay my bills in my house. Then you're going to have to go find 5 people who love you and your dirty draws, period. They will do it just because they love you. Because people come up with that excuse, well, I don't pay my bills, or I'm already strapped here, this, that, and the other. You're running a store. If you're counting on just the services you got for yourself, that's a stupid way of thinking. Because you need to be able, if you don't have 5 people that do a favor for you just because you're you, it's not that you need an opportunity, you need Jesus. That got nothing to do with ACN. At this point, this has to do with who you are and how you're showing up in life. 5 people, I got people that just, you know what, here's $19.99 just to help you out. I'll never use it, but I'll at least support you. It's $20 that's gonna help you out. In some cases, I'll just give somebody $100, $200 for the year and say, look, I just need you to do this for me. I got a partner right now, and she's gonna tell you, I got a guy, he got into the business. I knew he would never do the business. He has the personality of Stonewall Jackson. He's what anybody have one of those friends, he's what you love him to death, but you don't even want to take him around your friends. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Right? I mean, when he eats outside of his mouth. For real. When people, you just like take 3 steps back and like, just talk to me from there. When you have food in their mouth, the slob come over here and here. It's just some people like that. Anybody know what I'm talking about over here? Right? But I love him to death. He's my boy. He's my ace. Got credit off the yin-yang. Got money, everything, real estate. But he's just a caveman. He is a straight up caveman when he eats. Like, dude, and it's not like once, it's always like. Yeah, I mean, I did. I just said you take the shower when you have food in his mouth. I just said that. So everybody follow me? Yes, yes. But he actually, I mean, he got in. He paid $500. He'll pay it twice, 3 times over. He's like, how many services do you need? He'll go and get 3, 4, 5 services and just do it because of me. Because of how I served in his life, not because I'm asking. I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I'm just sharing with you. When you serve the right way in people's lives, they will do whatever they have to do to support you and help you. I have a friend of mine named Conrad. Conrad was one of the most amazing souls I've ever known on this planet, one of my best friends. He served in the service. A lot of people knew who he was. He created a magnet school. He got into the business to support building this magnet school. He built it, and prostate cancer killed him in less than 6 weeks. He was gone. Built the school and everything. Had 4 video phones and 6 services. I never even knew what he was doing. He actually did it without me even knowing it, and just kept paying. Just because he wanted to support me, because I wanted to support his dream. We could just call on each other like that. Is anybody getting this conversation? Yes. So it's a matter of how we live and how we lead and how we serve is my point in sharing this conversation. Getting qualified is not negotiable. That's the cue. The whole meeting is critical. That's really how we blow this business up. So I have a vision of playing a two-week game. And I talked to this about with Rod at his PBR that we just had this afternoon, and Glenn and a few other people, Mike. I want to turn this team into 1,000 people in 2 weeks maximum. 1,000. Then I want to turn it into 5,000 people in the next 60 days. By doing that, I mean, think about it. If everybody in this room was up underneath you and they all went and got 10 customers and you overrode all that, how many people like where that sounds? That's a good business, yes, yes. And they're working the business by themselves, but not, for themselves, but not by themselves. And we're supporting each one. And we're going to build this, and your team just takes off like wildfire. It comes down to a belief system. It comes down to how big you think. In fact, for those that may not ever see me again, you want to write down this book, The Magic of Thinking Big, by David Schwartz. Extraordinary. The problem is that people don't think big enough. Their belief isn't big enough. So if you just never see me again, that's one of my mandatory readings to work with. Because once your mind stretches and goes and thinks outside the box, it'll never go back to the original state. It will never. Once you know that you know, like when you first got your first check, it may have been $300. When you first bought, or paid rent, it was like maybe $500. And maybe it was a 600 square foot. See, maybe you had a 600 square foot apartment. Then you went to 1,000. Then you went to 2,000. Then you went to a home. Then it was 2,200 square feet. Then maybe you went to 3,000. Once you start to expand and you get to a bigger space, you won't go back to a smaller space. No. Is anybody understanding that? Right? You just are used to a specific way of living. Right? Once you get past top ramen, and you start to eat a good meal, you'll never go back. Every now and then, don't get me wrong, I love my top ramen, but I'm just using it as a metaphor. Because I will still eat some top ramen. I love me some top ramen. Mixed up problem. Anyway, is everybody getting me on this? I said I got caught. The picture in my head. So what we want to do is we want to create a movement that is so unstoppable that we make the world stop and think. And that's all it takes is a handful of people who have the mindset. I want this team so ridiculously large by the summer that we are tight where we can go to his church and we have literally 100 people to walk in there. And if you had 100 people go in there and they said, we want to just recognize all the guests, how many churches do that? Like, we want to recognize all the guests and we want to just welcome the Matrix group over here. And there's 100 people over here. And we just would like you guys all to stand up. Okay, now we're going to tie. And everybody dropped $1,000 in the pit. How many people like the way that sounds? How many people know if you had 100 people? How many people know if you had 20 people that dropped $1,000? See, that's all you need. Let's just start with just a building block. 20 people in here by summertime, March, April, May, June, by July, that have in 4 months, all I need is 20 people who want to learn how to get to a $10,000 a month additional check. And 20 people visited church and dropped $1,000 in the tithing kit just to say thank you. It could be at a mosque, it could be at a temple, it could be at a church. How many people think and know you would not have to approach your pastor or your minister to be able to see if they're open? How many people know that he'd be calling you like, that group you had? I just need to know what would, you know, can we have a meeting?
Right.
Are you guys following me on that? So I want to share with you some dynamics over the next 2 weeks of how and what we can do to explode. Because see, the hardest thing in erecting a building, if you know anything about real estate, if you're going to build a 20, let's just say even a 5-story building, if you're going to build a 5-story building, you have to excavate at least 15 stories underneath the ground for the foundation.
I say.
See what I found on that so far?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to go 15 stories in construction underneath in order for it to sustain the building above ground. We have all driven past a building that they were doing real estate and looked and say, dang, he put that up quick.
Yep.
But nobody saw the hard hats, the wiring. Nobody saw what they had to do to go downtown and get all of the licensing and to be able to get all the everything passed by the is everybody following me on that so far? Nobody saw all of what they had to do. All they saw was, wow, they put that building up quick. See, it's going to take the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks is what I'm looking at of a lot of hard work of building that 15 stories down below to put the 5 up above it. And once it goes up, people are going to understand how we created in excess of 50 team coordinators in 90 days or less.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for initially 25, because once 25 comes, the other 25 are going to happen like that. So I need just 25, and I'm just going to keep digging until I find 25 people that want to go AWOL. We aren't talking about 4-year institution of college, undergrad. We aren't talking about a year, 2 years before you can actually get your broker's license in real estate. We aren't talking about going to graduate school to do a dual degree between law and business. We're talking about 6 months to prove to yourself that you can get to a $10,000 a month income. With just due diligence, hard work, sweat equity, and a system that's already proven itself. And I want to share what that looks like. Is that right with me on that so far?
Yes.
In the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the conversation. So I said we'd be done by 10:30. You know what I said? Right. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. I want to take 5 minutes, which means I need you in your seat in 10, because I'm going to need the last 20 minutes. Everybody with me on that so far? I want you to take 5 minutes, which really means 10, to be back in your seat. I want you to meet 2 people and impress upon them why you need this to work in your life. And if you don't need it to work in your life, tell them that. I really don't need this. I'm just here because I'm supporting somebody. I'm here because I have nothing else to do right now. I'm here because I'm just curious. It's a great concept. I'm here. This is what I do. I float through life. That's okay. But for the people who have to make it work, I need the seasoned leaders to find every face that they have never seen before that's new and get with them and whoever invited them. And I need everyone to have 2 conversations with every new person just to meet them and understand and see and connect with them and be present with them. And I need you back in your seats in 10 minutes. I need all leaders in the back and all leaders up here helping me work this game. Is everybody with me? Yes or yes? And can I have some light music in the intro? Outstanding. I work for Claps. 10 minutes, be back in your seats. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to tap into just understanding the system and how you can learn. Because what we're talking about, in order to make the kind of money we're talking about and to generate the type of money you need and want to make, it's not, there's no way I can deliver all the information in one night. It's like learning about heart surgery in one night. Does that make sense, everybody? So I'm actually starting over a process in which we've done about twice, maybe 3 times now, since the inception of the opportunity with Dr. Glenn and her line and other lines that have started to explode. And so with that, I'm actually, it's kind of like anyone who understands basketball, it really comes down to the one who has the most touches usually wins the game, if that makes any sense. Right with me on that so far? So it's not a matter of the one who's going to take it straight up the court and slam it down the court. It's the one who's going to get the ball moving around until you find the open person and you find the most opportune time to be able to actually score consistently. This is the same thing. I call it a contact sport. So the one who makes the most contacts makes the most money. Everybody with me, yes?
Yes.
So that being said, what I need is a roster, and we're going to grow the roster. And the roster is going to consistently grow. And this is going to be day 1 of that 60-day game. I think we're talking about 60 days. And we count the days, but today's day 1. I'll get everything else together by then. So let me explain the rules of engagement. The rules of engagement are understanding the system, and the system starts with what I call 4 C's Inc., and those that have been around understand it. I can actually sit down with anybody and tell you every breakthrough and breakdown in a person's life just based on this one system. The first thing you want to write down is system, and the acronym of system stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. Now, in that, I don't want you to look at it like, well, I do. I want you to look at it like a job or a quarter. Like if you're going to college for a quarter. Quarters generally last, I believe, what, 12 weeks? 10 weeks. 10 weeks. 10 weeks. I was on a semester course, so 10 weeks, right? So look at it like it's a quarter. If you went to school for 10 weeks and you missed 3 classes, you probably failed.
Yeah. For sure you did.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. For sure.
Is everybody hearing that so far? So what we're doing is we're creating study sessions, we're creating, the more you show up, it's just like playing basketball. You want to be on the court all the time if you're playing basketball. In fact, people that play basketball know that you actually travel with your basketball in the car. You got your shoes, you got your gear, you're ready to ball at any time. You get off work, somebody say you want to play, you're like, yeah, I got my gear with me. Is everybody following me on that so far? Yeah. So you aren't going to be able to go all the time because you may pick up your little brother, you may have to go pick up your child, you may have to be at work, but you're always, and you can write this down, if I stay ready, I never have to get rest.
That's right.
If I stay ready, I never have to get ready. So what you'll learn about me is because I treat it like a family or like a father or a grandfather in the family. And that is the one who has, in that grandfather mentality. And Miss Yancey, I only have 10 minutes, so I know you gotta get through the bed. Can I have 10? Because I need you to hear all this, both you and Jack. You guys with me, yes? Yes. Okay. So in that, what we're talking about is I'm gonna create a blitz syndrome. And as a parent, I'm giving my child everything I didn't have. I wanna be there and give him support I didn't have. I wanna be there to give him homework and help him with his homework when I didn't have a father there to help me. I wanna be there when he's going out and dating to be a man, to know how to treat a woman when I didn't have somebody to guide me. Everything that I didn't have in growing up, I want to be able to support. Almost sometimes we do it to a fault. Does that make sense? So I'm giving you a bunch of options that you don't have to be obligated to be a part of. Meaning you're going to participate and in as much as you can if you like to play basketball. You're almost excited about going to it's just a pickup game just as much as playing in a tournament. Does that make sense? So I'm going to give you a series of pickup games and tournaments, and you participate in as much as you can. Did that make sense?
Yes.
What I have found is that to tell a person what they need to do can be almost overwhelming, in fact, intimidating when they first start. To tell you I need you to do a home meeting and teach you how to have a home meeting and tell you I need you to have 20 people in your home meeting, even though I teach you that you should do it like a wedding and you should have it almost oversold and hope that everybody can show up, you're intimidated because of the animal that it is. And like, who do I call? What do I say? Who's going to help me? Is everybody following me on that so far?
Yes, yes.
So I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks making your life really easy and giving you the opportunity to take advantage of the next 2 weeks to flood your business without any mental burden on you, but all the work is going to fall on me and the cast of individuals that I deem to be a part of this game. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Now I need you to understand the 4 C's. The first C stands for coachability. The second C stands for consistency. The third C stands for commitment. And the 4th C stands for communication. Just always remember the 4 C's. Coachability, you're willing to learn, you're excited to learn, you want to become a rocket scientist, and you're able to learn from the #1 scientist in NASA who's going to teach you. So you're showing up every moment and second that you can to hear, take the information, record the information, duplicate the information, study the information. Is everybody feeling me on this so far?
Yes.
The consistency. It's not what you do once in a while, it's what you do consistently over a long period of time that creates new habits in your life. So in that consistency, sometimes you may have to come a little late, sometimes you may have to leave a little bit early. It's okay. Is everybody with me on this? I'm not going to make you wrong for if you have to leave early to take care of something you got to take care of. Like for Dr. Grant, she's an ER doctor. Somebody call right now, they're dead. I'm not going to be like, no, you need to be here. Right. They're dying. I don't care. You need to be here. You want my support? You're here. Let them die. No, I'm not going to do that. Is everybody following me on that so far? So you have to use judgment. Because even like when I talk and teach my son, I know when they're doing their best. I can tell when you're doing your best. If you're doing your best, I don't have a problem. But if you're just half telling it and you're just kind of participating on your own whim, like, I feel like I'm okay, I don't, okay, I have a, then that's your own issue. But that's going to show up, and we don't even need to have a conversation about it. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. So the consistency. The commitment level is committed to your own success, your own check. How big do you want your check? You already know my goal is to find 25 people that within literally under 180 days, preferably 60 days, is going to build the biggest check they've ever seen. So that's going to come down to you tapping into the first 3 C's: coachability, consistency, and your commitment level. And then when you can't do something, you communicate it. So let's just hypothetically say he can't be here tomorrow night, but he knows he's going to be here. See, what people will have a tendency of doing is they'll say, well, I communicated. He came up to me and said, you know what, I wish I could be here tomorrow night, but I have to pick up my son. That's not the problem. The problem is not him picking up his son. The problem is if you're actually on the board of directors for a multi-million-dollar company and you're having a board meeting to lay down a foundation for a multi-million-dollar company and you're putting together the business plan, he's going to be missing in action, but he should be responsible to go and say, brother, I'm not going to be here tomorrow night. Can you record that and make sure I get a copy of it tomorrow? Can you send me an MP3? Can you download it? Can I come and hook up with you? Can I get a copy? I need to listen to it. You know what? At the end of the night, I'll be up at 11:30. Could you just play it back to me? You could go to bed. Just dial the phone and just play it back to me. I'll record it. That's when a person's serious about getting the information. It's not a matter of them not being here. It's a matter of them being serious about getting the information. Because if you're in a 10-week course and you miss 2 weeks, you just failed. So I need to know what I missed in class that day. I'm not getting it a week later, 3 days later. So I call me on that so far. Because I'm going to be giving the information in pocket-sized capsules, and it's going to be a different dimension every time we meet so that we can stay timely. Just like right now, I'm looking at, I got 6 minutes, and I want to respect your guys' time so we can be out of here, because I'm good for keeping people until for like 3-4 days straight without no I'm a master. I don't have to be at work. I'm excited about the opportunity. I'm looking at me, hey, we got to go to work tomorrow, call in sick. I'm good. Because that's how I roll. So I am doing everything within my power to respect your guys' life until you get free from NASA. Everybody with me on that? Yes, yes. Awesome. So you guys gonna have to stick with me and roll with me on this. And now, in that being said, I need you to keep in front of you QPN, because I'm going to keep talking about that in a lot of different dimensions. Every month, Monday through Friday, I do a program which is called 40 Days and 40 Nights, which is a cleansing process, mental and spiritual. from 6 o'clock, and I'm not even gonna say from 6 to, just know that I bring spiritual content and I bring academic content. Sometimes I convolute the two and bring them together. That's optional. You don't have to get on. It's at 5 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday on the phone. My thinking is so many people around the world want to know what I do, how I do, and can I mirror you, and can I come out here and actually stay with you and see how you walk and how you talk, how you breathe, how you sleep. And if you know how I start my morning, you don't have to figure out how my day goes.
Right.
So it is an option to be able to hear. And even if a person, I mean, I have Jewish people, I have Muslims, I have Catholic, I have everybody getting on the call. And if it is not of your spiritual faith, take it as academic, because the stories and the theories and the ideologies behind what I'm speaking are still that which you can apply towards your life and the business without convoluting, okay, he's going to left into Christianity. Don't do that. Does everybody follow me on that? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just saying it is strongly suggested that people do that if you're able to get up in the morning. By the way, that's another technique and tactic to close prospects, which a lot of people do not maximize. That means if I actually go, tell me your name, Brother Jabbar. If I go to Brother Jabbar and we've been friends for 10 years, I'm gonna say, I'm involved with something, I'm not sure if it's for you, but I'm gonna tell you from a spiritual perspective, I just want you to hear how this brother speaks and what he's saying. And you'll find that the people you want on your team are greater to gravitate towards leadership than a presentation. I'll say that again. The greater the people you want to get involved to see the opportunity, I actually close more people in my leadership ability to share the opportunity than a presentation. Because now they can be a voyeur from the outside looking in and have an objective opinion about what's going on without feeling like they're being sold. So whenever I have a team call or a leadership call, it is an opportunity for you to invite people to just say, let me sneak you on, you need to hear this. Just so that you guys know, it's an amazing tactic. So that's every morning, Monday through Friday. It's 40 days and 40 nights. We're going into the 11th day as of tomorrow. And the number is 559. And if I say it too fast, whoever's around you, they can give you the number. It's a universal number. I use it all the time. 559-726. Oh, I did. I know, I did change it. Right. So what's the number?
530-881.
530-530. 881-1300. And the access PIN number is 720-695 pound. No, only Monday through Friday. So that's phase one, that you have an opportunity. Phase two is knowing my schedule. So what I want to do is I want to have a list of everyone who wants to sign up, that wants to play this huge game of turning this into 1,000 people. And that if you're tentative and you aren't sure yet, don't sign up. But if you're 100% sure you would like to play a 60 to 90 day game, yes, sir.
I noticed that, I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off, but I noticed that some of the calls that you have, some of them are recorded. All of them are recorded.
All of them are recorded. Yes. And I'm gonna make that accessible sooner than later. Okay. Forgot where I was. Okay. Phase two is that I'm gonna make myself available every day that I'm in town. So tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, I'm gonna do a presentation here. So you can bring as many people as you like. And the presentation is only gonna be 30 minutes. I'm not doing the video, I'm not doing the long presentation. Literally, I mean, I'm gonna start promptly at 7:15, be done by 7:45. So you get a chance to bring somebody to me every day. Is it that you're obligated to be here? No, it's not. Does everybody follow me on that so far? Yeah. But every day that I'm in LA, through the rest of these 40 days, we're gonna be here at the Alman Center, okay? With the exception of Tuesdays. Tuesday night, we're at the Courtyard Marriott in Culver City, okay? So that is the class session. If you're looking at, well, what nights do I actually show up to class? It's always Tuesday and Wednesday. The rest of it is optional. So the quarter session is the classes on Tuesday and Wednesday. Yes.
This Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Tuesday will be just like clockwork. We will be at the Courtyard Marriott. Wednesday, we will be at the Alman Center, which is right here. Yes.
Okay, I just want to clarify something. So tomorrow we're here at 7?
7 o'clock.
Okay, well, earlier we discussed about the blast calls for 7 p.m. and then the 8 p.m. back office operation.
You see, if you're here, you don't even have to worry about that, because because I'm gonna do the back office right here, and I'm gonna still do the blast call at 7.
Sounds good to me.
So you can be driving up here, sitting in the parking lot. I said I'm gonna start the presentation at 7:15. It only takes me 10 minutes to do a blast call. Still do the blast call at 7. Maybe 5 people here can't be here tomorrow night, but they can get some people on the call at 7 o'clock. I'm still gonna knock out the blast call at 7 o'clock. That will be on the 559 number. Get it from whoever invited you here. Does everybody follow me on that so far?
Yes.
And I'm gonna do the back office at 8 o'clock from here. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes.
So if you are here, you will be able to see it live and in person. And if you aren't here, it's gonna be online. So you'll be able to have anybody at home that's actually seen the opportunity to be able to see it is here. Did that make sense, everybody?
Yes.
We're gonna take that and we're gonna roll that into a touch on Wednesday. So I'll be here on Wednesday. That same process, 7 o'clock, 7:15 presentation, done by 7:45. Take about a 15-minute break, start up at 8:05, be done by 10:30. I'm gonna do an intense training on the marketing plan and how all that works and how you get paid and the system that you need put in place because I'm gonna be gone Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I'm in New York. If you got anybody in New York, you can write down New York. I'm doing a presentation on Thursday. That means that I would bring a list of the people that I know and understand that I'm going to be doing phone calls and teaching you how to do 3-way calls and doing the conversations with you and for you here live and in person to be able to enroll people. You may just want to come to the training. Let's say that you don't want to come to the presentation. You got people you want to get on the blast call, but you just want to come to the training tomorrow night. Then you will be here at what time? 8 o'clock to know that we're doing the back office. And come here with the numbers and the people that you want to contact. This is not going to be a classroom setting where we're just sitting here face to face. I'm going to work. And I'm going to implement and enroll everybody else of the leaders. So we're going to make all the phone calls with you so you don't have to figure out what to say and how to say it to your people. We're doing that live and on the court, 24 hours. That's what we're doing every day until we get where we need to go. So I have a 2-week process to be able to do this, so that you have momentum, and then when you do your PBR, we're gonna take the last week of this month, and we're gonna blitz the entire month, and we're gonna literally have in excess of probably 100 home meetings in the last 7 days of the week, which everybody will have a collective, and all the new people can plug into it, and we're just gonna blow this month out by the last week of the month. But for the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna do most of the heavy lifting and most of the burden and carry all of that on me, so that all you have to do is show up and get paid. How many people like this so far? Right with me on that? Okay. So on Sunday, I'm only giving you the week and I'm wrapping this up right here. On Sunday, we're going to culminate. So what I'm going to teach you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is how to set up your home meetings so that you can have your own home meetings so that when I'm not here, you can actually have the leaders that are around you. And I don't care if it's, you always want to seek at least 5 people at your home meeting at minimum. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, everybody here is exposing the business and has the support of the other leadership in the room to roll all that into 5 o'clock on Sunday, making sure that this room has at least tripled. That's our goal, that you want to have a minimum of 5 people with the work we put in over the next week sitting here on next Sunday at 5 o'clock. Now look at the room right here. If you're looking at 75 people in the room times 5, we're talking about at least 300, 400 people. We're looking at, if you do what you need to do, I'm gonna do what I need to do, all you have to do is show up for your own rescue. Is anybody excited about this plan? Yeah. Okay. So that's gonna be the plan from now until Sunday. The only other thing you need to understand is we're gonna implement the QPN. That means why you wanna show up is because maybe you just got started, you're in the system. What's the first thing that you need to do? I'm gonna have 5 people supporting this Yancey. Everybody gets qualified as soon as they get into the business. So I need all leaders, anybody that's on the books that's not qualified, you need to get them here before I give you a phone call in the next 48 hours before I leave, because that's gonna be a hammer in a conversation you wanna have. So anybody that's on the books over the last 30 days that are still on the books, ready and able to get qualified, I don't care if you gotta hog tie them and throw them in the car, get them here over the next 3 days so we can get them off the books. Everybody on the same page?
Yes, yes.
So I'm totally excited about this plan because we're going to execute, be in and out. I'm 4 minutes over my time. I have a call at 5 a.m. in the morning. I got a full night to prepare for you guys for the next 3 days. Is anybody excited about getting paid? Yes! Okay. So my name is Byron Nelson. Let the person who you're here with know I'm in or I'm out. Anyone that's getting started tonight or tomorrow, I give you my personal guarantee, so long as God has me living, because I believe only God can give you a guarantee. You get started in this business, and don't make your money back in 30 days, and you're in direct communication with me, I will give you $750 back at the end of 30 days of the time that you've done the business. That's how sure I am of what I'm doing if you show up for your own rescue. So nobody loses any money in this family if you show up and you pay attention and you're taking action. Is everybody with me? Yes or yes? Okay. The rest of the proof you need to know how this business works, you'll get over the next 24, 48 hours. I love you guys. Have an amazing evening. Please be safe. Please be safe. God bless and have an amazing evening.
This concludes the training for tonight. We thank you for watching. Be blessed, be safe, and get in contact with the person who invited you to watch this. Thank you and good night.